All right, hey guys. So this is our part two. So what we should have is our gridded out drawing. And what we're going to be doing is going in and laying in our contour outlining of our drawing. So I like to get a nice sharp pencil. Let's see if I can change up the lighting a bit so that you guys can maybe see my pencil drawing a bit better. Here we go. Okay. So what I like to do is start out by mapping the major parts of my drawing. So when I do this, I like to take my gridded out drawing, push my paper to the side, and I like to come in and just sketch lightly out the main parts of the drawing. So here you can see what I'm doing is coming in and finding out where exactly are some of these definitions in my hair coming across. Right, I'll have room to find these later for shading purposes, but just for mapping out some of the direction, finding some of these lines in my hair will be key later on. So just mapping out the bigger sections and shapes that we see in our hair is going to be really helpful. All right, so now that I've done that, I can come in and start finding some of those lines. So in my A1, up in my corner, I got a little piece that comes through like that, and another one that comes down here. In my 3A, starting at the bottom, it comes down through the 4. Most of the way through 5. And then in my 6B, I've got another shape in here that I'm working with that comes in contact with the glasses. So the glasses come about halfway up and have a shape that looks a little bit like this. So in our sketching process, there's always lots of time to get in here and revise. So getting in and looking at some of those bigger shapes can sometimes help us make any corrections that we need to make as we go along. So you can see here I'm mapping out the side of my glasses right in here. And I'm just trying to match one box at a time. You can see that my glasses come down and make a point right about here, here, and here. So that first shape picks up on the inside here. It makes this nice triangle shape. And then the rest of my lines follow right behind it. And now this box matches this box. So as you're going through, that is all you are doing in this drawing, is matching box for box, one line at a time. If you just follow along with your box, you're going to get a good contour outline drawing. Alright, so now you can see I've completed one full eye. Now I can come along in, or not eye, sorry, rim of the glasses. Now I can come in and start making these little marks where they are. So right inside the nose here, I've got my nose piece that comes in pretty much like this. And then on the inside right here, maybe a little higher up, is where I have the metal piece. Then I can come in and draw that for. Now I notice that almost at the very tip top here, I've got that little shape that just sneaks over. And I've got this little shape in here, comes up a little taller before going back down. There we go. I've got my little nose piece in there, and it comes in a little bit higher than I've got it over here. There we go. And it just sneaks over the line there. Now I can keep coming in with my hair, which comes down through here and sneaks back behind my glasses. Comes down about halfway before sneaking right back up, right around this line. And it comes back up here, up through here, and then back down over on this side, and then back under the glasses, a little more than halfway down, and across before it sneaks back up, comes down again before going back up one more time, about halfway through the frame. Back down and up across E into F, and then it kind of swoops over into G, just hitting that corner before coming back up and up again, all the way up into R1. And it begins to sneak back down, crossing right around here in 4, before starting to come back up and open up again. All right, so we've got more of my bangs mapped out. And now if I'm looking here at my eye, I notice that right around here, where my hair creeps in, is where I start to see my makeup lines. So I can come in here and notice that right around here, I've got 2 little lines where my eyes are wrinkling a bit from smiling. And another line right around here. And right at the tip of that line is just about, let's see, this is another really good tool, is you can split your little boxes in here in half and then into quarters. And then you can do the same thing on your box in here. Again, let's see if I can show you guys what that looks like. A little closer up. So see how I made that little triangle in there? Not triangle, cross, there we go, and a cross in here. And I notice that right in here is where my eye shape begins, and it starts to open up into the pupil right in there before coming up and hitting maybe right around there to make that little triangle shape up in the corner, and then crossing right along the top. So I'm working a little into this box here before coming back down. And again, I can make my little cross shape in here to mark those into 4 equal boxes, and then do it on here. Now, if you're not good at guesstimating, you can get out your ruler, right? Lay that down and see that it's your halfway point. So this is where all that math comes in handy, because you can start to get those little mini grids where you need them to get really specific. And now I know that I have a little triangle right in here that'll come back down and hit that shape. Maybe came down a little bit too hard. There we go. And then it comes back down. My pupil kind of cuts off there into that little corner of our eye where, like, I don't know, we always call it like the Sandman thing. And that levels off right there in the corner. Now on this side, I know that even though this starts here, it wraps up right through and comes down right along this line, where it pretty much follows straight across to that line. Alright, so now I've got my basic eye shape in. Now I can notice that over here is really where that makeup starts. And I can come in and get my pupil if I wanted to. It hooks right around here. And then again, if I go ahead and split my eye one last time, I will notice that this comes right around like that. All right, so now I have my pupil, or sorry, iris in the right place. Now I can come in and notice that the pupil is going to be right here in this corner. And I've got that little highlight right there. That goes right through it. And around that, I've got a little bit of an iris again, where we start making those little details in there. And that'll come all the way around the eye. Alright, so now you can see I've got that going in there. I can come along and start making some marks for where my eyelashes are, which are mostly shaded dark. They can be brought down right through here. And then I have my line for that crease in my eye that comes in right around here. Cuts right through there. comes down right in to this nook. There we go. I've got one eye pretty much put in with my glasses and my bangs. I've covered up my eyebrow for the most part, so I don't really need to put that in there, but I will have to be cognizant of the shading around it. You can even come back in here and add some more of those lines for the hair that sneaks through, and come in here and add this little under bit to my eye. Looks like it starts right around here. It carries around, and then it really starts to get heavy right in here. All right, so there we go. We've got my eye. And let's see, how far are we getting into this? Okay, so we're about 21 minutes in, and you can see that I've already done a lot of work for myself, right? Really, all I'm gonna have to do is come in and do a lot of that large shading. Our contour outlining is gonna take, you know, a day or two to really get in and be accurate. All right. So now that I'm over here, actually I'm going to come in and just put another little line through here because I do get some shading happening there. All right, now I can come over to my eye side. I'm going to have to take this off the paper for now. Maybe lift it a bit so you guys can see it a bit better. There you go. I can come in and start doing my other side. So I left off up here in my bangs on G and H, right around 3. So right in here. And it looks like it's gonna swoop right along the edge until we get down into our 5, where it kind of pretty quickly cuts over, comes up, back down, and swoops up. Into 4, and then back down here a little bit before it just sneaks right back over. All right, now we've hit where our glasses are going to be again. So I'm going to come over to this first box, and I'm going to notice that this sweeps up so that that black shade hits right at the cross mark. It kind of comes in straighter before curving, and then comes down. And that is where that piece attaches. And that gold comes up and around. Have our little attachment in there. And then this piece is going to come down right around here. And we can see here in this piece that my nose piece kind of sneaks in behind. And it'll come down right around here. And then by the time this hits down here, that black piece is pretty much taken over the gold. And now around the edge, we can finish off doing this black piece, which gets nice and thin up here. Sometimes when you're trying to move those lines around. You have to erase them to draw them back in because they're getting a little too thin. And now down here in my box 8, I can see that my glasses end a little under halfway, maybe around a third. And those are going to swoop in fairly naturally. And I can continue that shape all around. And then there's just that teeny tiny little bit of gold that sneaks its way around the whole thing. Back over here, we sneak in with that nose piece again. I'm actually starting to think that I did not make that black piece big enough. So I'm going to come in and just erase all that out and give it a little bit more oomph. There we go. And then carry that gold around. And now carry that piece through. Alright, so now I've got this little thing happening right in here figured out. And I can come up and look at the corner of my eye here. So right at that pin, it starts to drop down. Here, it just leaks through and pretty much follows my glasses all the way up. Almost even, just like that. It's gonna be the crease of my eye, and this follows pretty much over before that dips down and comes across like that. Get the little dip in our eye there. Move that line up a little bit and come across. Alright, so now we have this little portion of the eye that starts in there. And I can start to do the rest of my glasses before coming back and finishing the eye. I just like to do that because the glasses gives me a lot to base my other shapes on. So I can notice that that little gold piece comes right through and comes a little under halfway. And then that black piece will carry up with it. And my gold starts to get lost. Now the top's gonna come about here. I can carry that through. Carry the black piece through. And that little bit of gold all the way underneath. And then this is where my K5 starts to get interesting, because we have that piece turn right within it. So here I'm going to notice that it turns right around here with this piece of hair that comes through. So because I noticed that piece of hair dropping in there, I can see that this is a shape right around here that's being formed. And that shape right there is helping me figure out how this piece of my glass frame takes shape. I can also come and look over here and see that the little gold strip comes in here. And the black strip goes right around it. Just a little bit of a curve. And now I know where that ends. And my gold starts to fade away in here and give way to the black part of the frame. And the gold underneath kind of disappears before popping back up right there. All right, so I figured out this part of the frame right here just by comparing all of those little teeny tiny different parts. All right, now if I follow back through here, I'll notice that right around halfway, right in my center, so again, if I split this square in half, I know that right around here is where this piece is coming in. A little connection to the piece that will loop back behind my ear. And now I can bring this up to meet, and the black piece disappears right underneath that connection. It gets kind of thin before looping back down. I can strengthen up that gold, which we can see fairly well. That swoops back down to make that little triangle right in here. Black will follow with it. Maybe a little bit thicker than I made it. There we go. Because the black ends right around there. And it swoops through just to add a little bit of a corner down here. This piece swoops through here. And we get a lot of that gold showing right through there. All right. So we can look and compare, kind of go back and forth. Maybe I decide that this looks a little thicker than I want it to. Come and sweep through there. Maybe even rounding some of this out a little bit. Making it just a tiny bit smoother. There we go. Now again here, we've got another shape where it starts to pivot. So I'm going to come in and draw those little half lines through, and notice that yet again I have that center point to work with. Now again, I'm going to stress, if you are not used to eyeballing, right? My eyeball is pretty dead on, but I've been doing this for quite a long time. You're going to want to get your ruler out to measure out these boxes that we're doing. All right, so now I can bring that black piece right down through here before it shifts over to about here. And same thing with our gold. All right, now we got a little bit more of that curve in. And I'll notice that this black piece comes right up through there to make that little triangle here. And again, we have this little triangle right here that I can bring this guy down to make. And connect our pieces here as well. And we can see that our gold disappears right around here before sort of being picked back up in here. So there we go. We've got another lens frame shape that we can start using our eye for. So over here I've got a bunch of hair going on, but I'll notice that through here this piece of hair comes up around here, and then we've got some hair kind of sputtering about in here, and this face shape comes about halfway down through the drawing, and our hair comes down here to meet our glasses. And then we get a little bit of this shape in here to work with that becomes my cheek. All right, so in here, I can remind myself by just shading that in that is that dark space in between my hair and my face. Now I just do that to help me kind of locate where I'm at later. That's not something you have to do. You could just leave it as line. All right, I'm gonna keep coming in and looking at some of these hair shape pieces. Comes up through here, sneaks down around here before coming back up and disappearing behind the glasses right over there. All right, so now that I've got that done, I can return to my eye. So this eye piece here, this crease, makes another triangle. So I can drop this lower again for you guys to see a little bit better. There we go. So here's that little piece I'm talking about right in here. So I'll notice that crease in my eye almost hits this piece up here before coming in to turn. And then it's coming to meet right around here before it disappears down into my eyelashes. Now again, I can go ahead and come in and draw those little mini grids. In my eye here for me to see. And then again, I can draw them in here. All right. So now I'll notice that this part of my eye peeks up, comes right over before coming across to here. And then it kind of comes back to that point right here. This part will loop down to around here. And I do have that little ledge that catches some light. There we go. And my eye will come right around through here before leveling off. All right, and I'll notice that this part might be a little bit off. So maybe I'll come back in and erase some of this out. Ooh, there we go. So my eye comes down at this point. And then we just get a little bit of a sliver through here. And then this piece pops up and we get a little bit through there. Now my pupil, sorry, iris, I keep calling it the wrong part of the eye, sneaks its way right like that. And then over here I get just a little bit of that corner of the eye to make a little triangle in here. It's going to sneak its way around, and then I get a little bit up at the top right there. And there I've got my iris. And then right around that halfway point is where that pupil comes in. And then right in here is where that little piece of highlight goes. Now I can come around and map out again where some of that detail in my eye is at and where some of that darker line is around the sides. You can see I'm coming in and making some changes according to what's happening in here. And I notice like right in here, get a really dark line. Probably my eyeliner if I had to guess. And then all the way out here is where a lot of that shading is for my eyelashes. And that comes up into there. Now I can notice that around this halfway point, I start to some of that shadow. That comes down. I carry that halfway through here. That line about carries through before it comes back up in here. And there's some of that shadow in my eye. And then here's some of that kind of wrinkle that goes around my eyelashes. And there I've got another eye mapped out. All right. One thing I kind of noticed looking at this is that maybe this line is a little bit too curved. I can come in and fix that up. Come in and add a little bit more of that hair texture, and then finally up in this corner I can map out that in J. Well, that was exciting. My water bottle fell because I moved my camera. All right, there we go. Up in J, up in this corner piece, it's going to come right through here, down through K, and then right as we hit between 3 and 4, and start to come back in a little bit, coming right down into the side. We have another piece through K, comes out here, and I'll wrap back in and around. But for the most part, the rest of that is pretty much figured out. All right, you can start to see some more of those hairlines I can come back and do between H and I, right around here. Got some more stuff falling. You can hear it in the background. go. 5. I comes up this way. GH comes in like this. Some more of that shape happening in my bangs over there, and I can come back in. Here's another useful tip, is if you've already drawn something and you don't want to smudge it, take a piece of paper, lay it down over, and then when you put your hand down, it's not going to smudge. Alright, so I can come back up, find F. Nothing in E. F comes down through 4. Their shape along here. Messed up might be. I'm going to come in and erase. You can tell that I'm just sketching really lightly because of how easy it is for me to erase some of these shapes. None of what we're doing now should really be too hardly pressed into our paper, because then it's going to be really hard to come back in and sketch out later, or erase out later. Alright, so there we go. I've got my eyes, my glasses, and the beginning of my bangs done. I'm right around 50 minutes, which is about a class period. So we'll go ahead and stop with drawing our eyes, glasses, and the top shape of our head today. And tomorrow we will pick up with our nose and getting in some of that face shape in our cheeks. Alright, good luck with yours.